Welcome to an exciting journey through the world of rare and valuable Lincoln pennies. Some of these ordinary-looking coins have turned into unexpected treasures, selling for jaw-dropping amounts at auctions. Could you be holding one of these hidden gems without even knowing it? Today, we're uncovering the top 6 most valuable Lincoln pennies that every collector dreams of finding. From rare mint errors to low-mintage rarities, these coins are worth far more than just 1 cent. Stay tuned until the end. You won't believe how much these pennies are actually worth. Let's start. Number 1. The 1970 penny. A simple 1 cent coin that most people overlook, could be hiding in plain sight, worth far more than you'd ever imagine. Some of these pennies have shocked collectors, selling for thousands of dollars due to rare features and minting errors. What makes this coin so special? And could you have one in your pocket right now without even knowing it? Let's uncover the secrets behind the ultra-rare and most valuable 1970 penny. First, let's talk about why the 1970 penny stands out. Most were minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, but not all were created equal. A few rare varieties, especially those struck at the San Francisco Mint, have collectors on the hunt. One of the most famous is the 1970s small date penny. At first glance, it looks like any regular cent, but under closer inspection, subtle details make it an absolute treasure. The 7 in the date is key. On the small date variety, the top of the 7 appears level with the rest of the numbers, while on the common large date, the 7 appears higher. This tiny difference has led to huge auction prices, making the small date version one of the most sought-after pennies from the 1970s. But there's another detail that can send the value of a 1970 penny soaring even higher: mint errors. Some of these pennies were struck on Canadian cent planchets, creating a dramatic difference in weight and metal composition. Others have double die obverse, where the date or letters appear slightly doubled due to a striking mistake. These errors are rare, but when found in high condition, they turn a simple penny into a collector's dream. Then there's the matter of condition. A circulated 1970 penny may only be worth a few cents, but in pristine, uncirculated condition, it's an entirely different story. Coins graded MS-65 or higher command serious prices, especially if they exhibit full, sharp details with no wear. The better the condition, the higher the value. Now, here's the big question: how much can these rare 1970 pennies actually sell for? Well, some of the most valuable examples have fetched between $2,700 and an astonishing $38,500 or more at auction. It all depends on rarity, condition, and those incredible errors that make collectors go wild. Do you have a 1970 penny hiding in your collection? Take a closer look, and you just might be holding on to a fortune without even realizing it. Let me know in the comments if you've ever found a valuable penny in your change. Your discovery might just be the next big find. Number 2. The 1967 penny. Just another 1 cent coin, right? Well, not exactly. Hidden among the millions of pennies minted that year are a few ultra-rare varieties that have taken collectors by surprise, selling for incredible amounts at auction. Could you be holding on to one without even realizing it? Let's dive into the fascinating world of the 1967 penny, its rare errors, and why some of these coins are worth a fortune. To understand the rarity of the 1967 penny, we need to look at the time period. The U.S. Mint was under pressure due to a nationwide coin shortage in the mid-1960s, leading to some key changes. In 1965, 1966, and 1967, the Mint stopped placing mint marks on coins, meaning there are no D or S mint-marked pennies from this period. All 1967 pennies were struck at the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints, but there's no easy way to tell where a particular coin was made. This was a unique decision, and it adds to the mystique of coins from these years. So, what makes a 1967 penny valuable? There are 2 major factors: rare mint errors and coin condition. Some of the most sought-after errors include double die obverse, where the date and letters appear slightly doubled due to a misalignment during striking. These doubling effects can be dramatic or subtle, but either way, they increase a coin's value significantly. Another incredible error is the off-center strike. Some 1967 pennies were misaligned when struck, causing part of the design to be missing. The more off-center the strike, the rarer and more desirable the coin becomes, especially if the date is still visible. Then there's the striking on the wrong planchet. A few 1967 pennies were accidentally struck on dime planchets, creating thinner, silver-toned coins that weigh less than a regular penny. These types of errors are extremely rare, and when found in high condition, they can be worth thousands. Speaking of condition, let's talk about grading. A heavily circulated 1967 penny may only be worth its face value, but a coin in mid-state condition, graded MS65 or higher, can fetch serious money. Coins with sharp details, a full strike, and brilliant luster are always in high demand. Some collectors even search for proof-like examples, which have a mirror-like surface due to early strikes from fresh dies. Now, the most exciting part: just how much can a rare 1967 penny be worth? Well, depending on its condition, error variety, and demand, these coins have sold for anywhere between $3,700 and an astonishing $42,000 or more at auction.so. Before you toss that old penny aside, take a closer look. You might just be holding on to a hidden treasure. Have you ever found an unusual or rare penny in your collection? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear about your discoveries. Number 3. The 1966 penny. Just another ordinary coin? Think again. While most people see it as just 1 cent, collectors know that some of these pennies hold incredible value. Hidden among the millions of pennies struck that year are rare varieties and mint errors that have sold for thousands at auction. Could you have one of these ultra-rare pennies in your collection without realizing it? Let's uncover the secrets of the 1966 penny and find out what makes it so valuable. To truly appreciate the rarity of the 1966 penny, we need to look at the unique circumstances of the time. In the mid-1960s, the U.S. Mint was dealing with a nationwide coin shortage, and to help stabilize production, they temporarily removed mint marks from coins. That means all 1966 pennies were struck at multiple mints, but none bear a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco. This decision added a layer of mystery to these coins, making it harder to trace their origins but even more exciting for collectors searching for rare varieties. So, what makes some 1966 pennies incredibly valuable? The biggest factor is mint errors. One of the most sought-after errors is the double die obverse, where the date and lettering appear slightly doubled due to a striking mistake. These doubling effects can be subtle or dramatic, but either way, they make the coin highly desirable. Collectors pay big money for well-defined doubling, especially if the coin is in uncirculated condition. Another rare and valuable error is the off-center strike. Some 1966 pennies were struck with a misalignment, causing part of the design to be missing. The greater the off-center shift, the rarer and more valuable the coin becomes, particularly if the date is still fully visible. Then there's one of the most incredible errors: the wrong planchet strike. A few 1966 pennies were mistakenly struck on dime planchets, making them lighter and giving them a different metallic appearance. These error coins are extremely rare, and when found in high condition, they can be worth thousands of dollars. But errors aren't the only thing that determines value. Coin condition plays a huge role. A circulated 1966 penny may only be worth its face value, but a high-grade, mint-state example can command serious prices. Coins graded MS65 or higher, with sharp details, a full strike, and original mint luster, are what collectors seek. The fewer the imperfections, the greater the value. Now, the big question: just how much can a rare 1966 penny be worth? Depending on condition, rarity, and mint errors, some of these coins have sold for anywhere between $3,500 and an incredible $45,000 or more at auction.so. Before you overlook that old penny, take a closer look. You might be holding a rare and valuable piece of history. Have you ever found an unusual or rare penny in your collection? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear about your discoveries. Number 4. The 1961 penny, just a simple 1-cent coin? Not quite. Hidden among the millions of these Denver minted pennies are rare varieties and mint errors that have sold for thousands of dollars. Some collectors have been shocked to discover that an ordinary-looking 1961 penny in their collection was actually a fortune in disguise. So, what makes certain 1961 pennies so valuable? Could you have one without even realizing it? Let's dive deep into the fascinating world of this ultra-rare and highly valuable coin. The 1961 penny was struck at the Denver Mint, identifiable by the small D mint mark below the date. While most of these pennies were minted in massive numbers, not all were created equally. Certain rare varieties and minting errors have turned a handful of these coins into some of the most sought-after pieces among collectors. One of the most desirable varieties is the 1961 double die obverse. This error occurs when the die strikes the coin multiple times in a slightly misaligned position, creating a doubling effect on the date, letters, and sometimes Lincoln's profile. The more noticeable the doubling, the rarer and more valuable the coin becomes. Some examples with strong doubling have fetched impressive prices at auction, making them a top target for collectors. Another rare and valuable variety is the repunched mint mark (RPM). This happens when the D mint mark was accidentally struck more than once in slightly different positions. This creates a shadow-like effect on the mint mark, making these coins extremely desirable for error coin enthusiasts. The more distinct the repunching, the higher the value. Some well-defined RPM examples have commanded serious premiums in the collector's market. Then, there are off-center strikes. Some 1961 pennies were struck with the coin blank misaligned, causing part of the design to be missing. The greater the off-center shift, especially if the date is still visible, the rarer and more valuable the coin becomes. A well-preserved off-center 1961 penny can command a significant premium among collectors. But one of the most spectacular errors from 1961 is the wrong planchet strike. A few pennies were mistakenly struck on nickel or dime planchets, making them either a different color, weight, or metal composition than a regular penny. These errors are incredibly rare and have sold for thousands of dollars when found in high grades. Speaking of grades, let's talk about condition. The value of a 1961 penny depends heavily on its grade. While a circulated coin may only be worth a few cents, an uncirculated penny graded MS65 or higher, meaning it has sharp details, original luster, and no wear, can bring in serious money. Collectors and investors alike compete for the highest graded examples, which is why some of these pennies have reached record-breaking prices at auction. Now, the question everyone is asking, just how much can a rare 1961 penny be worth? Depending on its condition, error type, and rarity, these coins have sold for anywhere between $8,700 and an unbelievable $48,000 or more at auction.so. Before you overlook that old penny, take a closer look. You might be holding a hidden treasure. Have you ever found a rare penny in your collection? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear about your discoveries. Number 5. The 1971 penny. Just another common coin? Not quite. While millions of these pennies were minted, hidden among them are ultra-rare varieties that have shocked collectors with their high auction prices. Some of these coins feature unique mint errors, doubling effects, and near-perfect conditions that make them incredibly valuable. Could you have one of these rare pennies in your collection without even knowing it? Let's explore the fascinating world of the 1971 penny and uncover why some of these coins are worth a small fortune. The 1971 penny was struck at the Denver Mint, as indicated by the small d below the date. Like other Lincoln cents from this era, it was composed of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, giving it a rich reddish-brown color. However, not all 1971 pennies were struck the same way, and certain rare varieties have turned an ordinary 1-cent coin into an incredible collector's item. One of the most famous and sought-after errors is the doubled die obverse. This occurs when the die used to strike the coin imprints the designs slightly offset during multiple strikes, creating a doubling effect. On some 1971 D pennies, this doubling is visible on the words, "Liberty, in God we trust," and the date. The more dramatic and clear the doubling, the more valuable the coin becomes. Collectors actively search for these rare examples, and those in higher grades can command thousands at auction. Another fascinating error is the off-center strike. Some 1971 D pennies were struck while the coin blank was misaligned, resulting in a partial or completely missing design on one side. The more off-center the strike, especially if the full date is still visible, the rarer and more valuable the coin. Coins with extreme off-center strikes have sold for impressive amounts. Then, there's the wrong planchet error. A few 1971 D pennies were mistakenly struck on dime or foreign coin planchets, making them appear thinner, lighter, or even silver-colored instead of the usual copper tone. These wrong planchet errors are incredibly rare and can sell for thousands of dollars when discovered. But even if your 1971 D penny doesn't have a major error, its condition still plays a huge role in its value. A well-circulated coin may only be worth its face value, but an uncirculated penny in pristine condition, graded MS-65 or higher, can fetch impressive prices. Coins with deep red luster and minimal marks are always in high demand among collectors and investors. Now, the big question: just how much can a rare 1971 D penny be worth? Depending on condition, error type, and rarity, these coins have sold for anywhere between $2,800 and an astonishing $37,000 or more at auction.so. Before you spend that old penny, take a closer look. You might be holding on to a hidden treasure. Have you ever found a rare or unusual penny in your collection? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your discoveries. Number 6. The 1960 penny might seem like just another ordinary coin, but hidden among them are some of the rarest and most valuable varieties ever discovered. With unique mint errors, double die varieties, and even small changes in design, some of these pennies have sold for astonishing amounts at auction. Could you have one of these ultra-rare coins sitting in your collection without even realizing it? Let's dive deep into the world of the 1960 penny and uncover why some of them are worth a fortune. The year 1960 was an important one for the Lincoln cent, as it marked a major design transition. This year saw both a small date and large date variety, a difference that may seem minor to the untrained eye but is crucial for collectors. The small date variety features a 6 and 0 that are closer together and sit slightly lower than in the large date version. While both varieties exist in high numbers, certain rare errors and mint conditions have made some of these coins incredibly valuable. One of the most famous errors from 1960 is the double die obverse. This error occurs when the coin's design is struck twice in slightly different positions, creating a noticeable doubling effect on the date, the word "Liberty," and "In God We Trust." The more dramatic the doubling, the more valuable the coin becomes. Some well-preserved double-die 1960 pennies have fetched staggering prices at auctions, making them a must-have for serious collectors. Another highly sought-after variety is the 1960 D/D repunched mint mark. This occurs when the Denver Mint accidentally punched the D mint mark into the die more than once, creating a shadow effect or even an overlapping D. Some versions of this error are barely noticeable, while others are extremely clear. Those are the ones collectors pay big money for. Off-center strikes are also common among rare 1960 pennies. Some coins were struck while the planchet was misaligned, resulting in an off-center design where part of the coin's surface is missing. The greater the off-center strike, especially if the full date is still visible, the more valuable the penny becomes. One of the rarest errors from this year is the wrong planchet strike. A few 1960 pennies were mistakenly struck on nickel or foreign coin blanks, making them lighter, a different color, or even missing key design details. These ultra-rare coins are highly desirable and have been known to sell for thousands of dollars when authenticated. Even if your 1960 penny doesn't have a rare error, its condition can dramatically impact its value. Most circulated 1960 pennies are only worth their face value, but uncirculated examples graded MS65 or higher, those with bright luster, sharp details, and no visible wear, can sell for surprising amounts. Collectors actively seek out high-grade examples, and competition for the best specimens is fierce. Now, let's talk about what everyone wants to know. How much can a rare 1960 penny be worth? Depending on its rarity, condition, and era type, these coins have sold for anywhere between $8,700 and an incredible $68,000 or more at auction.so. Before you dismiss that old penny, take a second look. You might be holding onto a hidden gem. Have you ever come across a rare or unusual penny in your collection? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your discoveries.